Hi. Welcome to our live stream for tonight. This is AskRose Homework Help. We are students at Rose-Hulman and we do tutoring over the phone, calls, emails, chats, that type of thing. And today we're actually doing a live stream for you all to go over some Pemdas review. So we sent out this question over some of our socials. It's this big, complicated question that you need to use order of operations in order to solve. And one of the ways that people like to learn how to do order of operations is by using Pemdas. Pemdas is a mnemonic, P-E-M-D-A-S, and this mnemonic stands for parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. And those are all kind of the steps that you would take in order on how to do order of operations, which operations you have to do in order to make your equation solving actually work. A way to remember this is the mnemonic, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So one thing to note about Pemdas is that even though multiplication comes before division, those kind of get lumped into the same group, and so it's less important about the order for multiplication versus division. Same thing works for addition and subtraction, right? So what's important is that parentheses comes first. You have to do the operations with the parentheses before you work on anything else. Then you go on to your exponents, then multiplication and division, and then addition and subtraction. So if we look at the problem that we put on our social and we follow the steps for Pemdas, we should be able to simplify this very easily. And so if we just go step by step, our first step would be parentheses, the P, and we can start by looking at where do we have parentheses. Well, we have parentheses up here, and down here as well. So up here, there's not a whole lot that we can do here since we can't really distribute the 20. Nothing's being added to each other, so we can probably leave this one alone. Down here, there's no coefficient, nothing to distribute, so we can actually get rid of the parentheses down there. So what that looks like when we do it is we have the same exact thing up top. And then on the bottom we can get rid of our parentheses. So we have 70 plus root 25 minus our 7, and then we can deal with what is inside the parentheses and just go ahead and make that 10, and then I'll make our calculations in the next step easier. So that's our first step done. Our next step would be to kind of continue with the parentheses and go ahead and multiply this out to get 70. And then our next step in the Pemdas is to work on the exponents, to work on your E part. And so here, as you can see, we have y squared multiplied by y to the negative 3, and so that becomes y to the negative 1 times x inside that parentheses, and then all of that gets squared. So because all of that gets squared, this then turns into x squared times y to the negative 2 if we kind of distribute that exponent. So this one's a little bit trickier to spot, but this 25 is also an exponent because root 25 is the same as 25 to the power of negative 1, and that's equal to 5. So then here, this becomes 5, and this becomes x squared times y to the negative 2. Our next step in the Pemdas is to do your multiplication and division. And so those can be done in whatever order makes sense. So Here you can see in the denominator we have 70 plus 5 minus 70, so we can go ahead and just make that 5. And then we have a bunch of these coefficients over here and then a fraction over here. So if we're looking at the multiplication and division, one of the easiest ways to do this is to go ahead and split up this fraction and make it 35 over 5 plus 20 times x squared times y to the negative 2 over 5 minus 315 over 45. And that's what you see over here. So when we actually go ahead and do that division, what we end up getting is 7 plus 4 times x squared times y to the negative 2 minus 7. And you might need to use your calculator for this one, but this fraction does simplify to 7. So since y to the negative 2 is equal to 1 over y squared, we went ahead and changed this into a fraction just to make it look a little prettier. And our last step in Pemdas is the a and the s, your addition and your subtraction. So let's go ahead and add all the like terms we have. The only ones we have are 7 and negative 7. So then what we end up getting is x squared times 4 over y squared. And that's how you solve that using Pemdas. So the important thing to remember is the order for your multiplication and division does not matter as much as the rest of it. So your parentheses comes first always, your exponents comes next, then you do your multiplication and division and your addition and subtraction. And then that should get you to your most simple answer.